Diary, hello. It is April the 11th, 2023, and this is an unboxing and a subsequent review of the GT HITGX smartwatch, which I've just brought from Amazon. And the idea of this review and subsequent analysis is to find out whether a £25 smartwatch can be used as a basic fitness tracker, and how it performs against something that costs something over £500, which is an Apple Watch. Obviously, I don't expect it to compete favourably with the Apple Watch, but we wanted to see what you get for £500 versus what you get for £25. So this is the unboxing part. It's called, on the outside of the packet, it's called Smartwatch Full Touch. That's the back. Large screen, massive dials, information reminders. This apparently has a 1.85 inch screen. It didn't come in any shrink wrap, it's come just as I'm showing you. That's the top is away. It says smartwatch DM15Pro 1.58 inches Bluetooth/cooling version. And it's got information about the app, which is called the Glory Fit app. You need to log into that. Bluetooth connection. It says it's got Bluetooth 5.2. That's interesting. It's the latest levels. And it's got other information about the watch. So that's the bits of paper. We've got a strap, which is quite supple. And we've got Mr. Watch. And where would Mr. Charging come from? Hang on. Oh, here we go. Oh, there's another manual inside here. Right, so what have we got? We've got the piece of paper. We've got a user manual. In multiple languages. We've got the watch. Please charge the watch before using, and what looks like a cradle, which is going to fit in there once I've taken this wrap off. Okay, so that's the unboxing. We're going to do about a week of analysis, and we will be back to you shortly. Diary, hello. It is April 2023, and today we are looking at the GT HITGX smartwatch. And if you've been following along on the WordPress, you'll know that for the last week or two I've been trying to see whether a £30 smartwatch, which is this here on the left, can possibly compete with something that is in several orders of magnitude more expensive. So this is an Apple Watch Ultra. We'll also be looking at this Garmin Epix 2 watch, which is my daily driver for all kinds of exercise. So without further ado, we're going to look at this watch. Overall, I'm going to say it's a big positive, and I am going to recommend this watch, but I'm going to tell you why. So we're going to test the watch and show its facilities and compare it against the Garmin watches. This is the front screen, which is one of a number of watch faces. This is a customized and downloaded watch face, but the watch does have several watch faces that you can select. So if you hold this button, you can scroll left and right, and you can have, for example, this watch face, which is an analog watch face, and we've got the steps and we've got calories. They've taken some design elements from the Apple Watch. Design elements are that if you scroll from the bottom, you're going to get messages, and if you scroll down from the top, you get access to the settings. So left and right gives more settings. Those are pretty self-explanatory. For example, there's a setting here which is that when you lift your wrist, it's going to turn on. This is to switch between a list display or an Apple-like many icons display, which I never use. Let's go back. So if you press this button, you will, oh, I've actually gone to that display. Let's stop that. There's the list display. So if you press this button, you can scroll up and down all the various facilities, and you'll notice that there are blood oxygen, blood pressure, and body temperature sensors, which is most unusual on this kind of price point. In fact, on any price point. I've never seen a watch with blood pressure monitor on the wrist. We'll come to that in a second. So let's get to the user interface. You've got the scroll down, you've got the scroll up, you've got the scroll left. So if you scroll left, you can add a number of different quick paths, which you could also get to on this button. So if you press this button, you can go up and down here, but you can put a limited number of those on this sort of quick access panel. So let me just press that. So you do press that, you get the up and down icons. But instead, you can click it here, back to the watch face, and you can scroll. So we've got, I'm going to go through these and show you the best one. So this is daily exercise, a summary of your daily exercise so far. Number of calories, number of distance you've walked, number of steps you have made. I would consider this an accurate step tracker, and that's good. So at the moment we've got the clock works. It works for step counting. And I can imagine that the calories is not totally inaccurate. So that's good. The next thing is the heart rate. Again, the heart rate is somewhat accurate. It's not always accurate. We've got the Apple Watch on continuous monitoring here. And you'll see so it's pretty close. And when I do exercise, the heart rate goes up, and when I stop exercising, the heart rate goes down. Unlike a previous watch I tested, this gets down to my base level heart rate, which is something like 40 or in the high 30s. So I do believe this does actually represent my heart rate almost exactly. That's good. Let's just take this watch off now. Since I've done the heart rate, we don't need to look at the eye candy of the Apple Watch. So, scrolling once more here, we have blood oxygen. So most people's blood oxygen is between sort of 95 to 100%. This comes up with some readings which, they're not unbelievable. I just don't know that they are actually measuring my blood oxygen. But it's coming up with some sensible kind of values. But again, most people have these values, so it's difficult to say whether that's correct or not. The next thing is blood pressure monitoring. It's by scrolling on there, it's actually going to do a blood pressure monitoring. And I'm going to guess it's going to come up with something almost exactly like 128, 179. Let's see what it comes up with, shall we? Takes a while. There we go. 127 on 81. Now, I've just measured my blood pressure using this medically certified Withings device, and it is actually 110 upon 59. So in other words, according to me, this number is absolute garbage. Now, I don't understand how a blood pressure monitor would work on a wrist, because the way that this cuff works and the way that all blood pressure monitors work, to my knowledge, is that they constrain your blood flow by constraining the blood via this cuff, and then they release it to find out at what point your blood starts flowing again. Obviously, this is doing none of those things, so it's a mystery to me how this could actually ever work. So I would take off blood pressure monitoring from my list of things that this can actually do. Next, body temperature. Again, I've got a Withings device to measure that, and I have measured my body temperature, measure it every day. This does seem to be measuring it. I'm most surprised and pleased. 36.7. So yeah, I will give it that. The next thing is the ability to use it as an activity tracker. So there's a limited number of activities here, and that's because on the Glory Fit app, what you do is you configure what activities are to be shown here. Now this is unlike some other watches that I've tested with the Glory Fit app, which don't allow you to customize this list. They just have a long list. This allows you to put only the ones that you want to see here, and then you can actually go into those activities. Now, although it appears to be working, I have a few caveats. So this morning I did a walk, and the caveats are, as with a previous watch that I've tested, that you go into the walking app, for example. I'll just show you this app to start. And now we have started. Now you can scroll left and right. So if you were to scroll this way, you can see you can talk to the actual music player function, which works very well. And you can scroll left, which goes to the stop or continue. But whilst the activity is running, you can't do anything else on the watch. So that is a limitation. On most other higher priced products like this Apple or this Garmin, once the activity started, you can completely go away from the activity and use the watch as normal, and the activity tracking can continue in the background. On this product, it doesn't. So that's the first thing to know. The other thing to know is that if you accidentally press this button, it pauses the activity, and this is a bit of a deal breaker, because unless you wear short sleeves all the time and you're looking at, thank you, little one. If you are looking, unless you're looking, listen, I'm making a video now. Come on now, come on, go this way. I'm afraid there's been a charming interruption here. Right, we're going to continue. So one of the deal breakers is that if the cat accidentally presses this button, you'll pause the activity. And that's a big problem, because I'm the sort of person that wears long sleeves all the time, and unfortunately I'm very liable to press this button accidentally. So for me, that is a really big minus. But if you are the sort of person that actually has a short-sleeved lifestyle, then this could actually work for you, as long as you remember to keep looking down at your watch to see if you press this button. And speaking of this button, one incredibly annoying factor is that I bought this watch because I thought this would have a click wheel, rather like more expensive watches like this have a button that when you press it does something, and when you twirl it, it does something. This does absolutely nothing. In any of the menus, this just does nothing. So the only thing that this button does is go back in the normal situation, or it will pause. It has some function, but there's nothing. This twisty wheel does absolutely nothing. That was a really big disappointment. Let's just come out of this activity. So I would say I've tested this out walking several times. It works fine. It seems to pretty much accurately gauge the distance, which is weird, because there's no indication it is actually using the GPS from my smartphone. So for example, if I switch off the smartphone, or if I disconnect the Bluetooth, the activity just keeps proceeding, and the tracking, it doesn't sort of say, oh, I've lost contact with my smartphone, none of that. So I'm not at all convinced it is actually using the GPS, but for walking at least, it does actually appear to do the distance pretty much correctly. So that was a bit of a surprise. So moving swiftly on, we've got sleep tracking. Sleep tracking. This does appear to work, but it doesn't appear to correlate with some of the other sensors that I've been using. So what we're going to do is we're going to try, and we're going to go to see what sleep tracking Mr. Garmin has made for me. And Mr. Garmin has showed me that I've had 6 hours 56 minutes of sleep for last night. This says 7 hours 43. We've got deep sleep of 4 hours, light sleep of almost 3 hours, awake 23 minutes, REM 24 minutes. So let's have a look at this. we've got deep sleep 53 minutes. This has got 4 hours. Light sleep 4 hours 49. This has got 3 hours. Awake 23 minutes, 28 minutes, that agrees. And REM sleep 1 hour. This is 25 minutes. So I've checked these numbers against the Apple Watch for last night, and the Apple Watch is pretty close to the Garmin. Apple is not best known for its sleep tracking, but it is pretty close to Garmin. So this is an outlier, i.e. probably wrong. So I can say it is doing some sort of sleep tracking, but I'm pretty much sure that it's wrong. So don't rely on this watch for sleep tracking, but it's slightly better than nothing. The music function allows you to speak to your smartphone, and it allows you to play music on the smartphone, and that is very useful. The add components allows you to look at change this list, which is a subset of all the things that it can do. So you can see that weather and call are not allowed to be added to that list. But if I was to take music away, for example, then I can add, let's say, weather. And now weather's on the shortlist. So if I come back and we scroll through these different things, so we go back to the watch face, you'll now see that if I scroll, daily exercise, heart rate, blood oxygen, blood pressure, maybe I should have taken that away, that's useless, training, sleep, weather, and weather is coming from your smartphone. Okay, so check what I've got on my little list of things to tell you. Oh yes, the other thing I would say is battery life. Battery life is pretty good in the sense that for me, none of these smart watches need to have more than 1 day of battery life. I normally have what I call the shower test, which is that after performing an exercise, a defined exercise, I stop my watch, sync it with the interweb, and then whilst I'm having a shower, which always follows the exercise, I expect the watch to regain charge to 100%. And indeed, this watch has really satisfied that. It does charge up quite quickly. It's got a magnetic dock. I'm going to go and get that for you. Let's have a little look up here. I'll put this on the table. Let's just get that watch face. So we're back with Mr. Magnetic Dock. So that dock is here. It's got a standard USB Type A socket. It sits in there and nicely sits there magnetically. It's quite solidly sitting there, so it's not going to fall out. And that charges up quite quickly. So the watch charges up fine. The battery life is fine. For me, it lasts the day that I expect it to. The other thing this can do, by the way, it has got a microphone and a speaker. So you can actually use it to answer a telephone call. Again, this is a £30 device. I find this absolutely astonishing. So let's go to the summary. The summary is, this is a £30 smartwatch. It's called the GT HITGX watch. You might be able to find it on Amazon if you search for the screen size of 1.72 inches. It is a very large and colourful screen. It's not AMOLED, but it is very bright. The brightness is adjustable, by the way. So when you go down to, let's go in here. In the settings, you can see there's a brightness, and that can be changed. I have it set at maximum because my preference is to have it that way. So, where are we? This is a £30 smartwatch from Amazon. It's got configurable watch faces. You can download one or more extra watch faces via the Glory Fit app, which is the app that this watch talks to. It does have sleep tracking. I'm not sure about the accuracy of it. It does have pretty good step tracking. Well, I'd say accurate step tracking. It works well as a watch. You've got a decent watch face, although the watch face that I downloaded from the interweb, the main problem with it is it's got this feel that means absolutely nothing. So the best watch face I could find to download was this one. This has a nonsense graph in the middle. I have no idea what that graph is. It seems to be, it's a rather Apple-esque display with these rings, which is fine, but this bit in the middle, who knows what this is trying to tell me. I've kept this watch face as my default watch face because it's still the best watch face. For exercise tracking, I would say it's okay for walking. I doubt that anything else is any good because there's no indication that it's actually using a GPS from your smartphone. So that's it. That's the GT HITGX watch, 1.72 inch display, £30 from Amazon. I think it's a bargain, and I recommend if you're in that budget, that price point, you should get this watch. Thanks for watching.